I was using my voice extensively yesterday. You know, sometimes it happens in that manner. And so I'm a little bit hoarse today. But I want to talk about flushing out toxic people. And something I have been talking about and why it's important to do so. So for those who have just joined us, this is what we shall be. Welcome, Keisha. Welcome, Natasha, to the discussion. This is what we shall be talking about right now. Now, how many people up in here have identified with inside of their lives some toxicity, whether it be a person, whether it be an addiction, whether it be a show or ratchet TV that we find some guilty pleasure in taking part in? How much of us, after we have had that encounter, feel a bit drained, feel a bit, Angelina, welcome, feel a bit unsure about where this whole conversation is going, right? And oftentimes, like in the new year or people get to resolutions, they say, you know what, I'm going to detox my friends list and I'm going to go on a blocking spree and getting that energy outside of my environment. Now, this is a little solonomics, okay? And we've done that in the past. What happens is, what I've experienced are many things. One is which, if we're unaware, Deborah, welcome, that something within us is allowing us to attract the same type of person in a different mask, then we keep thinking it's everybody else and not really holding ourselves accountable for the energy that we attract. I'm going to say the dreaded A word, and some people may not like it. Deborah, Kimberly, welcome. But it's such a word called, and like I said before, please excuse my voice, accountability. When we are attracting negativity into our environment. Now, you know, Mary J's song, you know, no hateration in this dancery. We talk about hateration or somebody hating on us. And I think that in itself is something that we need to unpack, because everything is not hating, but some things are. You see how that works? And so if we just classify every critique as hating, then we will never allow for ourselves to get the information or the benefit, to need a welcome, of whatever that individual is sharing with us, because we automatically, you know, seal ourselves off from any instruction, any response, any rebuke, and all of it is hateration, and I don't want to hear about it. This also is, this is not good, because we are not able to take reproof. Then in another space, if we are expressing to friends, family, our environment, the things that we feel, if the other person cannot take, like I was saying, the truth, then they may deflect it, or they may project it, meaning they're pushing it back on you. And so everything that you are observing or are noticing about the individual and you're expressing, if you are in a negative situation, or if you're in a vampiric situation where that individual can't take what it is that you're saying, you're going to get that pushed back on you. And it can be frustrating, even for those who have been aware of this type of behavior for some time. When you're actually in the course of it, it can become frustrating. So we are not perfect. Even when we know the information, it's a process of growth. And somebody might come from left field on you. You're like, what? You know what I'm saying? Kind of like that. You're like, what? You know what I mean? And they come from left field on you, and you really have to reflect on it and be like, okay, I see what this is. And so while you're in the motion of seeing and identifying what it is, and this is different levels of being exposed to certain type of different personalities. If, like I said before, concerning, like, say, for instance, narcissism, which is a buzzword for everyone. If we think we have a narcissist peg, at that point, we no longer understand really narcissism, because it can manifest itself in different ways, right? And so that's something to keep in mind. But I came across this article, and then I'm going to talk about flushing out toxic people, which is a course that years ago I used to offer as a complimentary course. And now it's available on the Soul Center, and it helps with what it is that I'm doing. And it's a 9-step course in how to flush out toxicity, how to identify toxicity, right? So beware of the company you keep. This is an article, I shared it. It's actually in the link box. Science says you absorb negative energy. Now, for some people, this is like that's a given. For other people, they think it's pseudoscience. And so now science is signing on to say that negative energy can be absorbed. Okay, so I'll read a little bit of the article. And I would just say over the years, because this is not now when I have started sharing this course, and I kind of, virtual welcome, I don't really like to push things. I like to share it, and then to whoever comes, then that's who it's meant for, right? So I noticed that I have a lot of things that I don't really market hard, but it's there for who needs it. And what I noticed is a lot of people sign on, because I can see the back of the Soul Center. I notice a lot of people are excited in the beginning and be like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to flush out toxic people. But when the dreaded A word comes into play, when we actually have to invest in our own journey, then all of a sudden you see the actual activity drop off. You'll see the first day, like the person is there. I don't say anything because it's your journey. And unless somebody comes to me and I feel compelled in any way to be like, is everything going all right? Because it's a self-paced course, I'm just observing what is the trend that I've seen. So I'm going to read this article briefly for those who joined us on the YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't know why this computer is going slow. As soon as I say I'm about to read the article, come on, computer. Well, what with my computer? In the meantime, while I'm acting for my computer to get some act right, I had a recent experience where, hey, Vlad, what's going on, Amatia? Where it lets me know of anger and how people interact in anger and the different ways. And I speak about that in the actual Solonomics course. As a matter of fact, we're going to speak about anger as well. Oh, chill, what's going on with my computer? The computer is not trying to allow me to read this song. It's not responding. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. So I'm gonna read this first so I don't jump all over the place. Beware of the company you keep. Science says you absorb their negative energy. I mean, my grandmother said that like every time I ever seen her, rest in peace, mama. She would always say, beware of friend and company. So here comes science, you know what I'm saying? Mama done gone home a long time ago, and she's been saying that. I'm quite sure many of our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents have warned us of this, but now science is just catching up. If you still have trouble believing in energy, is that the first sentence? Yeah. Then you have been living under a rock. Science has long proven that energy is real and it is everywhere. So it's not hooby-jooby to speak about energy. Emotion is energy, okay? Energy is everywhere all the time. It affects both me and you on an everyday routine. Energy comes from a variety of different things. Like we know, plant, when we talk about natural resources, you're talking about coal, you're talking about water, you're talking about wind, you're talking about solar, all that's energy, okay? And it can come in a series of different forms. Energy or emotions are even energy, which I say, and emotions are energy in motion, okay? Emotion, motion, the energy. Energy, every person has their own energy, and everyone is different in their own way. And this is where we see energy manifesting and personalities coming out, okay? Some people possess bad energy. This is a reality. And this can take a great toll on your overall quality of life. You have to be extremely careful of these people. This is what we call in today's space toxic people, toxic environment, toxic relationship. You need to wary about, okay, this person has a little error. I didn't write the article, but I see. You need to be wary about the people you hang out with. Like I said, I was always told that. And you not only pick up their bad habits, but also absorb their energy. The Tanakh also tells us about this too. Don't take their daughters to be your wife. Don't take their wives to, don't switch. Don't connect yourself. Don't bond yourself because they're going to pervert your thought process. They're going to take you off course. The Tanakh warns us against this, okay? And so that's on a communal level, and now we're talking about on an individual level. It says the people you hang out with on a regular basis can have a tremendous impact on you. They are carriers of negative energy, and science has just, well, that's an assumption. It would depend on who you're hanging out with. And science has just recently discovered that negative people affect our energy. While most people have had a hard time believing in the phenomenon, science, all of a sudden, 2019, has just begun research in the the bio and energetics of humans and how we impact each other. Aisha Rodriguez, hey, what's going on? Welcome to the conversation. So science is just keeping up, but there's many studies that have been done, and Eastern thought of medicine and healing are very aware of the energetic exchange between people. This is why they have things, although I don't necessarily fully agree with forcibly trying to heal somebody, but this is, to my understanding, the base premise of Reiki, which is transferring the energy from the healed whole person to the sick person to try to move their energy around to allow them to heal. So this isn't any spooky hoobie jooby stuff. There was a documentary done. Sometimes they playing. I told them to play. Hold on 1 second. They're getting excited, y'all. They over here playing Uno. Somebody must have won because they're over there jumping up and down, acting crazy. There's a documentary that was done. It's called Water. I don't know if it's still on YouTube. And it's looking at the energy of the plant and the energy of the water and how you use your words, which is also energy. It's vibration. It transferred. If I say, hey, good morning. How's everybody doing? You looking beautiful today. Oh, man, you looking handsome. You receive that and it makes you feel good. But if I came on here and was like, da, 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 and I'm angry and I'm transferring this energy, it's going to make you feel another type of way. And so this is also a way, a spoken way in which we transfer energy one to another with our word. Okay. It says here, anyway, so if you haven't seen that documentary Water, that's just one of them that shows the way in which plants respond to positive affirmations and negative affirmations, as well as this. I'm not going to go too far off, but I'm going to keep reading. Research from the University of Bielefeld in Germany demonstrated that plants have the ability to not only create glucose using energy from the sun via photosynthesis, but they can also absorb energy from other plants growing nearby. Interesting. So they create this ecosystem where they feed off of each other. That's how people do too, right? This breakthrough study has researchers and scientists finally understanding how organisms like algae can have their needs met via multiple different mechanisms. The research additionally has the potential to understand how humans can heal and help one another using natural energy levels. According to German physician Olivia Bader-Lee, quote, the human body is very similar to a plant that sucks and absorbs the energy needed to feed your emotional state. Yes, we eat food who is moving matter and energy, if it's plant-based or if it's meat, and there was once energy in that food, and when we consume that food, then we get that energy. And this is on a physical level. And this contributes to how, if we feed on a SAD diet, a standard American dead diet, if we feed on this type of diet, because the energy within the food has been stripped, it is not nourishing. You notice the difference between if you eat something fresh out the garden, as opposed to if you eat something that has been frozen or something that has lost that vitality of life, you feel totally different. Your body reacts differently. It says she hypothesizes that we have been alienated from nature and have been too quick to overlook the role of bioenergy in our day-to-day lives. Lastly, being in a natural environment could be the only true thing we need for healing. They say rest, relaxation, water, and sunshine are the best doctors, right? You know how when you go for a walk in nature, you automatically feel better? It has a soothing and healing effect on your mind. Beta Lee explains that this is due to the energy transfer between humans, plants, and animals. That's why being around nature is often uplifting, energizing for so many people. And I spoke about this on the YouTube the other day, some very simple solutions that we can use or implement, like if you're like going for a walking, and wherever you are, there has to be some type of park, some type of natural space or reserve that you can go and just chill, just sit down, relax, chill, bring in the energy. Because because we're under lights all the time, and because we're indoors, we're closed off from the rest of our environment. We are not meant to necessarily stay indoors all the time. We used to connect outside, walk barefoot, go planting, put your hand in the dirt, drink water from natural sources, which are totally different than water that has been bottled. Water from natural sources, even if you look at the molecules, the molecular structure of the water, it changes when the water is put through these rigorous cleansing processes so that it's drinkable. That's totally different than water that's flowing from a river, or water that's coming from a stream, or water that's from a well. Those are living waters, right? Literally living waters. And the water, a lot of it that we drink today are not. They're devoid of any nourishing principle. And for this reason, our body still to a certain degree is starved, okay? So I wanted to bring out that a little bit, and then I just thought that article was interesting. I shared it, that people can and do suck your energy. And so what are we going to do about it? If they do, when they do, how can we recognize this, and what can we do about it? So like I said, some years ago, I, as a outshoot of the Solonomics book, actually did this course. And it's something that I have done. It's not just something I sat down to write, to share. It's actually something that I have experienced and continue to put into practice, because sometimes you forget, sometimes you get caught slipping. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And some parts of the old you emerge and they come to the surface, and you gotta, even though it may not take you to where you used to allow it to go, it may pop up on you. You be like, whoa, okay. You know what I mean? There must be another way in which to do what it is that I need to be done. So, if you have any questions or comments, just feel free to leave it in the box, and I'll come and check on it in a minute. What am I looking for here? So this course is like, it's self-paced. Like I said, I've seen a lot of people sign up and a lot of people not finish, okay? I'm gonna read a quote from the course. So I kind of printed like the little first page here. Do the difficult things while they are easy, and do the great things while they are small. A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. And oftentimes, I think his name is Lao Tzu. And oftentimes I have heard the smaller, the latter part of that quote quoted, and not so much the beginning part of the quote, which is, do the difficult things while they are easy, and do the great things while they are small. So basically for me, it's like, don't wait till it gets out of hand. Don't wait till it gets out of pocket. Do what you need to do, even though you may not want to do it. So do what you need to do so that you can do what you want to do. And the things that eventually will become a big issue, take care of it while it's small. So one of the perfect illustrations are children. When the children are small, it's easier to mold that child and guide that child than it is to correct an adult. Shaul, welcome. Because when you get to the adult stage, that has been set to a certain degree. And it's not as easy as to influence that child. That's why you see toy makers, music industry, entertainment industry, market to children. Because they know that if I can get my product in the hand of a child, they will be a customer for life. So they're studying human development and knowing where those childhood memories, those things that you attach to your childhood memories, be it good or bad, are likely to stay with you unless you do something about it. So we're talking about flushing out toxic people. If you were and continue to be, but namely in childhood, exposed to toxicity in whatever form it may be, because everybody's exposure is not the same. So to have a blanket, it wouldn't be beneficial to everybody who's listening. One would have to say, that's what I always advise for people, get your pen and paper and do your own work. You know what I'm saying? So within the course, I call what some probably people call energy vampires or control dramas. I call it energy jacking. That's somebody running up on you and extracting your energy without your permission, manipulating your energy away from you, unbeknownst to you. Or they're doing it where you're aware of it, but you don't know what to do with it. You don't like the way this person makes you feel when they come around. You're upset and you begin to possibly resent them, but they may be your best friend. They may be your brother or sister. They may even be your parent. And the question is, how do I separate from such an individual? Right? What do I do? How can I get away from this person? Or because we usually want the person to get away from us. Like, get away from me, leave me alone. But the reality is we can't control anybody else. The only people we can control are ourselves. So if we take that same energy and desire to say, I want to separate from this individual for whatever the reason is, then we have to make that conscious decision, right? And so in the 9-day course, it's how to identify an energy jacker. There are signs and symptoms that let us know, because sometimes they go under the radar. We don't know because it doesn't manifest itself because the conditions aren't right. It's like a rainbow doesn't manifest itself unless the conditions are right, right? There has to be a level of moisture in the air, a level of light for the rainbow to manifest itself, and that's on a good way, right? So certain characteristics don't manifest itself. It's like some people who will say, if you was broke and you was broke together with a friend, that friend came up and you still broke. You may not necessarily know that that person was envious and jealous because there was nothing for them to be envious and jealous for. But now that the situation has changed and the variables have changed, it creates the environment for you to see something else in that individual, right? So I'm not saying that we have to go around suspecting everybody, but the reality is if we have been and have been conditioned to be in this negative environment, we may not even know that is bad. Okay, how to identify an energy jacker. That's one of the things. Learn the 4 ways people steal your energy. This is another thing why it's not blanket. You may have a narcissist or a codependent individual. Depending on their personality and the way they interface, it may not look like what you think it is or what you think it's supposed to look like. You may say, this person is so helpful. Talia, welcome to the conversation. This person is always there for me. It may be that that person wants to manipulate the situation, and what you think is helpful is actual manipulation. Or this person is always willing to listen to me, not like everybody else. Or maybe that person wants to corner you so that you won't go to anybody else, so they'll preserve their position in your life. Like I said, one will have to look into their own lives and see, okay, what's going on here? And is it healthy or not healthy? Because at the end of the day, we have to look at, as we're talking about energy vampires and energy jacking, we have to look at the end of the day, is this behavior beneficial or not? Is it healthy or is it toxic? Okay, so learn the 4 ways people steal and jack your energy. That's one of the things you will learn. Learn the 4 ways you steal. A lot of people don't like this. They usually like when I be like, oh, we're going to point out all the people in the house, and then we be having our books, and we be like, yeah, son, you this and that. Because that's what we usually do when we first get information, right? We be looking around our environment, at least I do. And I'll be like, yeah, you look like something going on with you. But the other part of that, Lakeisha, Omnipotent, welcome, is learn the 4 ways you steal or jack the energy of others. If we have not learned the positive ways in which to interface with one another, I can almost guarantee that we're using one of these maladaptive ways to get energy from each other. You was just talking to somebody about that. See, same vibration, same wavelength, right? Hey, Igor, welcome. One Tough Guy, welcome. Thank you, by the way. So it's cold here in Florida, y'all. It's a whole 60 degrees out here. I'm in that Florida vibration right now. I'm like, ooh, it's raining and it's cold. But learn the 4 ways in which you steal or jack other people's energy. We may be the energy vampire. We may be the energy jacker. And we may think that it's everybody else, but we eventually have to hold the mirror up to ourselves and be like, self, is that me? That's another thing I do. I'll be like, self-check, is that me? Do I do that? You know what I'm saying? So I identify and share some of the spaces in which we get that from. Because then what happens is you begin to look at your environment. Who raised you? Mother, father, grandmother, uncle, aunt, foster care. Who raised you? Who was around? What was their personality like? How did you interface with them? Were there 2 people there, 4 people there? Who were you closest to? Why? How did they treat you? How did they make you feel? All of these things are going to play into, again, because this is for soulonomics purposes. This is for soul elevation purposes. So we have to identify toxic. There's not a, I'm going to block and delete everybody off my social media. And that's how I flush toxic people out of our life, right? You've never seen me in a jacket? No, because it's cold. It's cold, Deborah. No, it's a sweater, but it's cold. It's raining and it's cold, y'all. I don't like it no more. I don't like it. Learn new communication skills for how to deal with toxic person in your life and so much more. It's so much. I know somebody was going to hate on my 60-degree comment. Yeah, Shaul, I know. My peace be with you guys out there in the northern hemisphere where those degrees is just wrong. It's just I can't do it no more, y'all. I can't do it. I can't do it. Not for no extended period of time. That stuff hits your bones, okay? That stuff hits your bones. But that is the intro course to how to identify, because this is one of our major issues. On social media, there's a lot of toxicity. So let's talk about this energy transfer. And I actually realized, thank you, Igor, thank you. I actually realized that I was experiencing this week, right? Oh, for the last 3 weeks or so. I was doing the R. Kelly study. So if you didn't see the R. Kelly study and you don't know what I'm talking about, it's over at the YouTube, right? Where for some reason I have these like passion projects of research when I have extra time. I love researching. Those who don't know, I love researching different things that prove or disprove my theory about solonomics, things that history, things like that. So the R. Kelly situation came up, and I'm about with the negative energy. The R. Kelly situation came up, and I was interested. I was intrigued. You know, Iyanla Van Zant put the story down. She was like, he can't get any help if he doesn't want any help. And Dr. Oz and this person and that person and everybody's saying he's sick. He's sick, he's sick, he's sick. But no one knows with what. You know, you're going around for years and people are saying you're sick and you're ailing and nobody knows for what. So it intrigued me just on the basis of what I'm hearing, the behavior patterns. So long story short, why I'm talking about the transference of energy is that in my research, first of all, I've been out of the popular music culture for a long time. I don't usually let it in my spirit. Okay. And so for the research for this, I listened to a lot of things that I wouldn't normally listen to. And I began to feel that energy exchange, even though I'm aware of it, because I'm going to places to listen to reports and all of this emotional storms that the victims, those who are victims, those who are experienced, those who are exposed, all of that is like swirling around, right? And I'm here and I do have a filter, but I'm still being slightly affected by what I'm listening to because I'm trying to hear the fullness of the matter. Do you understand? And so for myself, I've been lately like, I can feel it. I'm not, you know, with any wind of doctrine in the sense where I'm going to be taken away with the person's negativity. But some spaces you go, they're cursing, they're profane, they're a bit what some would say ratchet. And I'm like, in the world? You know what I'm saying? What is going on here? But I say that to say this is why we are to guard our spirit. We are to guard our heart. You know what I mean? And even if we do come into contact with negativity, we have to be able to flush it out. Shaul says, if you have the spirit of discernment and can discern negative and positive individuals. Yeah, you can, but there's some people who do and some people who don't. But what do you do when you think what is negative is positive? There's some type of behaviors that are glorified, like clapback, right? Oh yeah, my clapback game is strong. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and that. In this society, negativity is applauded as though it's positive. So then you are actually being attracted to certain personalities that in actuality is not righteous and it's not positive. But because society says, yo, I'm a bad person, you don't want to mess with me, this is what we glorify. And sometimes this is what we feed into. At the flip side of that, there's the whole turn the other cheek conversation that says if you do respond and you're supposed to be religious and you're supposed to be elevated, then that's not righteous. So we have this labeling of what is righteous and what is unrighteous, not within the context. There's a scripture that says, anger, but sin not. Hold on, let me get it. Or anger rests in the bosom of the fool. Okay. So it's not to say that human beings don't have the capacity to get angry or to get upset. What do you do with that energy, that fire emotion that's building up on you? Hold on. I don't want to misquote. Okay, so that was New Testament. That was a little New Testament residual right there. But there is, within it, it says, be angry and sin not. Okay? Within the Tanakh, it says, you look at the many places where anger comes up, it says, one place it says, do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger rests in the bosom of a fool. Right? So these are all things in which we're going to come across things that make us angry in life. But then there's also righteous anger or righteous indignation, where you're coming across something and that thing has, like Jeremiah says, shot up in your bones, or you see some iniquity and you like, what? But then if we have a carte blanche, if we have the ability to center, whoa, you're angry, that automatically means that you're off. Instead of saying, wait a minute, what is this person angry about? What's really going on here? Raw vegan, you know what, Shaul? Crystal says we have to grow to think only the thoughts of good and not the world, or God and not the world. Once you have the God consciousness, people can't really get to you. And Lakeisha says I'm in her head. Deborah says, I don't know what you mean. Even when people are arguing, I want to walk away. And this goes back to, I'm glad you brought that up, because it goes back to how, again, the 4 ways in which this energy, or the way we manipulate, or the way we miscommunicate, because everybody doesn't have the same way. Okay, so I'll give you a brief overview. There's something called, and it may have a different word, but there's passive and aggressive forms. Okay, passive forms and aggressive forms. Now, if you are accustomed to the passive form, sometimes for some people, argument and contention makes them want to walk away. Like Deborah is saying, that's it. I don't hear anything you're saying. I'm out. But if you've been socialized and become accustomed to the aggressive form of this maladaptive energy exchange, then some people run to contention. If the person is calm, if the person is relaxed, you're not getting a rise out of that. You see what I'm saying? Some people are like, well, it's not worth it, because the way in which they get their energy exchange is aggressively. If you can understand. So some of that I go into. Like I said, in the course, because it's important to identify how we do it, how others do it, whether it's healthy or whether it's unhealthy. And like I said, for some who the aggressive form is too much for them, then they automatically shut down. And for others, you invited them to a party. If you say, I don't agree, that is the open door for them to come and contend with you. If that makes any sense. So you have those who are, as they say, the what's the word I'm looking for here? You have the intimidator, okay? The person who uses their energy to intimidate others. You have the inquisitive person, the prior, the person who's always prying in to try to ask you questions. These are all aggressive forms, but in different ways, okay? You have the aloof individual, which is that person is the person where usually pairs, and I've shared this before, they pair with the inquirer, because the aloof person, we was never taught about all. Hey, Jerome, how you doing? No time, no see. We was never taught about all forms of emotion. Therefore, we view them as wrong and use them wrong. I agree. We're not taught this in school. You're going to school, little Johnny, Susie, stop it. That time they picking on Susie, doing all this kind of stuff to Susie. Susie pop off on them, Susie's wrong, right? So we kind of like put a lid on all of what's going on instead of really going into it and identifying it. And if in 2019 science is just figuring out this stuff, how much have we missed out on? During my job as social therapist at Juvenile Psychic Clinic, 12 and a half years, I think I had my fill. It cost me. Yeah, if we don't realize, you know, what's around us or how we're contributing and what we allow, it robs us. That's essentially what it does. Zebulon, welcome to the discussion. And so our emotional health, a lot of people really don't pay attention to emotional health until it's too late. Until we come to the table and say, this person has a problem, that person's unstable. Keep in mind, you really weren't educated, as Jerome said. You really didn't have all the tools, right? And then they're like, oh, this person is unstable. This person is crazy. Okay, who was listening? How were they taught? Were they taught to bottle it up? I would tell you, me personally, because I've been through the course. I took my own course, of course. Okay, and I've been exposed to, I know my type. I know how I can be, and I know how I can choose not to be, right? So I'm what people will call, I've heard it a lot, the intimidator, right? Meaning, but you don't stay on one side. So you can be an intimidator, and then I'm not the poor me person, because I really, poor me, that's not really me. I don't really like feeling sorry for myself. I could be aloof, where I'm good. I don't really have anything to say, right? So really, we can operate. Hey, what's up, Brother Zebulon? We can operate in both the passive and aggressive forms of our maladaptive behavior. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I can be an intimidator. That was the old me, y'all. You might see some remnants of it, but I can also be the person who can press you with questions. But if I don't care, I'm not really going to say anything. And so in spaces I've learned to, this is why I'm always open to, let's have a community discussion. Let me hear what you're saying, what you hear, what I'm saying. But when I have gotten to, or somebody, I've allowed somebody, let me take personal responsibility. If I've gotten to or allowed somebody to take me to a space, like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? I'm back in that space again. You might see some old me. It doesn't mean that I haven't grown. It just means there's some more growing to do. You understand what I'm saying? So I have identified, when I got this information, when I learned about this information, for me personally, it was very liberating to begin to see within inside of myself and others, okay, this is how you're doing it. This is how you're manipulating me, or this is how I'm allowing you to manipulate me. And this is how, you know what I'm saying, where we think we can win with somebody. So it also depends on the person. If you want to get something from that person, you pick the style that you think is going to appeal to that person. Deborah says, I used to be the buffer between the youngsters and my colleagues. I got burnout. That will definitely burn you out. That taught me to take better care of myself. But the most I was close, smile, and still is to teach me about me. Yeah, that's what happens when you could be the mediator. Say you have to, like Deborah is giving a situation, because children could be aggressive. Let me just tell you. So you got the aggressive ones over here, but they don't really have the power. And then you have the people who have the power, right? So you can be caught in the middle trying to mediate. And as you said, it's burning you out. And then you may take the manipulation style of the child to your home, to your mate, to your children. Like, you may have a mother, for instance, you at work or you get burnout. You go home, you want your children to do something. You don't really have the energy to intimidate them. So then you have parents who become the poor me. Oh, you don't know how much I've been through and all the things I do. You're trying to appeal to emotion. You see what I'm saying? You're trying to appeal to the emotion of your child, but you're going to use the manipulation of poor me. And I've been up this morning and I don't know what else to do. Hey, you people. And then the children, they start to pay attention. Like, what's going on over here? Did we break her or something? You see what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, Monica, how you going? Next thing you know, you done sucked them in. Yeah, the spirit, of course, the spirit rubs off, and that's kind of what we're talking about. And we're going to not just everything, because I know in some spaces, people are quick to call everything a demon. That's a demon. The person got a demon. This is a demon. I mean, that's the get out of jail free card. That's the easiest way not to deal with anything. The person got a demon. This is a demon. That's a demon. I'm like, come on, stop it, man. Cut it out. You know, take the time to look at it, because again, these things, as the quote says, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. Y'all laughing? These things right here, do the difficult things while they are easy, and the great things while they are small. A journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. If we don't do these things while they are small and address these things, they build and build and build. And like a volcano, the pressure builds, builds, builds until it explodes. Remember, volcanoes are hot, lava, pressure, underground, explosion, anger. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it, you're angry, right? I can't believe it. Oh my goodness, anger is just wrong. It's bad. Okay, where is this anger placed? Like in, again, angry Black woman. I have to bring it up because this is a title that's slapped on a woman of melanated complexion in the Western Hemisphere who may have said the volcano is erupting. And they're like, oh my goodness, you have a defect. Maybe the person did not have a positive way in which to express themselves, or the person was in such a toxic environment, they began to bottle it up, or it's seeping out in sarcasm, or it's seeping out in resentment, or it's seeping out in vexation of the spirit. Yeah, there are things in and around you that's vexing your spirit on a continuum, and there's no positive way to discharge this negative energy. Think about that. If we think about it practically, where is the positive way in which to, this phone is going to die. Yeah, hold on. Hold up. Where is the positive way in which to discharge this negative energy? These are the practical solutions that if we talk about them more and implement them more, if that person needs to take a walk, if that person needs to pick up a craft, if that person needs a support group, if that person needs to go to the beach, you know what I'm saying? If that person needs a hug, we just say, that person's a hater, Black. You know what I mean? We need positive ways in which to discharge negative energy. And so what people do to escape their reality is that you appeal more to drugs, which are an escape from your pain. Why else would you take drugs? You want to escape from your pain. So therefore, the drug industry is huge. Why? Because there are a lot of people looking to escape their reality because there's not taught positive ways in which to expel negative energy. How important is this? Really important. But again, it's a demon. And then they, Shalom, Teresa, welcome. And then they really get a demon because they don't open up themselves to drugs. So for instance, I've said this before, alcohol is the liver. Alcohol deals with anger. Sometimes when people become, shout out to Sister Mina, angry, and they become angry junks when they're drinking. Smoking deals with worry because smoking affects your lungs. There's a space that I was reading about certain people, you know, Native Americans. So they say the troubles go up with the smoke. You're using your mouth and your lungs, and you're blowing it in the air, right? And a lot of times, what do you do when you're upset or when you're worried? You sigh. That affects your what? Lungs. And so when the energy, whatever the energy is, you'll hear some people say, I'm a smoker, but I'm not much of a drinker. That's telling you, you know what? You maybe not be really angry, but you worry a lot. You see what I'm saying? So there's other addictions, such as people have sexual addictions, looking to connect or have a space where for a moment they can escape, the great escape. Because this is what this is on. So they put all the great escape in front of you and they mix them all together. So you got the drugs, the smoking, and the drinking, and they be like, aha, is this what you want to do? People use music as a great escape, but it becomes maladaptive where you can't live without the music. And all the time that the music, if the music is toxic, all you're doing is programming your mind to repeat the situation that caused you to be in the situation in the first place. For instance, again, like I told you, I had to go into the underworlds of the YouTube, and I scrolled in the comment section and reading all the comments about people who said, I don't care what you say. Okay? They're like, I don't care what you say. They ain't letting go of the Kelly. They ain't letting go of Kells. You can have 100,000 women throw themselves on the floor, claim he did whatever to them, and this is me ad-libbing. But essentially, there are countless people who are saying, who cares? I don't care. I'm emotionally vested into this way. And it's not R. Kelly. Let's not get it twisted. They're not emotionally invested in R. Kelly. They're emotionally invested in the connection with the music and how it makes them feel. So we begin to connect to these different things, whether it be the drugs, whether it be the music, whether it be the alcohol, whether it be the toxic people, and how they make us feel, even if it's for that moment. So the name of the course is Flushing Out Toxic People. I put the link in the box. You're going to have to go on a ride. You know what I'm saying? I can help you along the way if somebody needs some questions or something. But I find this experience a very personal one if we allow ourselves to take the journey. There's far too many people over the years who I appreciate the support. But support is, I appreciate the support, but for me, my utmost desire is that you, the individual, if I can help you in any way, get to your next level, as opposed to just, oh yeah, I just got it because I wanted to make you, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you're still going to be that person who's in need of help or in need of guidance or in need of change. Zebulon says, this is why the creation of fictive personality is so rapid. Different forms of escape. Yeah. Have you noticed that the fictive person, like the most violent person on social media, don't have no face? You know what I'm saying? They don't have no face. You go to the profile and they say some of the violent things. And sometimes you be like, well, who is this? And you go over there, it be one subscriber and it's them subscribing to themselves. And it's like, oh, that's why you're hiding behind this screen. And I'm not saying everybody who doesn't have a social media pic. What I'm saying is some of the violence comments that I've seen, because in the social media space, and speaking about stuff like slavery and oppression and healing, you kind of get attacked. I'm just saying, let's just keep it 100. And so some of the times I'm like, what? Who's talking? And what I've also noticed is when you invite those same individuals who are so vile, like Zebulon said, who is hiding behind a profile, they don't want to show up. You'd be like, I'm so glad you were vocal in this area. If you desire to, I would love for you to come on the platform and share your opinions with us. All of a sudden, I don't want to talk to you, but I thought you had so much to say to me under a comment board. But now when I'm asking you to sit down at the table, all of a sudden you don't want to talk to me. Okay, that's what's up. Okay. I'm just saying, again, like Zebulon's saying, that's another form of escape. Gambling, y'all stop making me laugh. Gambling is another form of escape. Gambling for some is a high. Even if they lose it all, they lost the car keys, they lost the next month's mortgage payment. You understand? They bathing in the pipe in the back because they done gambled out all the money and they still can't stop. Talking about, ooh, I'm gonna hit it big this time. Like, dude, you bathing out the faucet in the back. What's really good with you? Interesting, you would use the lungs as an example. I do have trouble with my respiratory organs. This is my theory, and I love on like real interaction because then I get feedback from those who I'm talking to let me know if I'm on or off the right track with their personal experience. So Deborah says, interesting, you would use the lungs as an example. I do have trouble with my respiratory organs. I have had bronchitis 3 times for the last 3 bronchitis for the last 3 weeks. My daughter and her family were here, as well as my son and her family over from Respect, Australia and New Zealand. I have been extremely busy for the last year, and it was humid cold here as well. Yeah. One of the ways you can reverse engineer or understand what's going on with you is look at the part of the body that's ailing you. You have reflexology who talks about this. You have different things. The part of the body that's ailing you is connected to some type of energy tension. Like you go to the chiropractor. For those who don't go to the chiropractor, find you a good chiropractor, man. Sometimes your whole back is out of alignment. By the way you sit, by the way you stand, by some injury that you weren't aware of. A chiropractor, people be like, oh, go to this doctor. The chiropractor is underrated. I'll say that. The chiropractor is underrated. Okay? Chiropractor gets you straight, literally. So you could go to a chiropractor or a massage therapist and they touch you right away and be like, whoa, you got a lot going on. Are your shoulders always tense? Is your middle back always hurting you? You know, is your baby toe always, whatever it is, I don't know. But if we want to look at some of the things that's going on and how we feel, and sometimes we ignore it, don't ignore the signs. That's your body trying to tell you that something's going on. So when we ignore the signs, what happens is all of a sudden it pops us on, and then we're like, ooh, what was this? I didn't expect it. Teresa says, yeah, I have a foster son who feeds off of playing people between each other. There's some people who get off of that on that. There definitely are some people who like starting the rebel rousing and they be in the corner like, yes, this is getting good. You know what I mean? And you're like, what is wrong with you? Because that gets them excited. Because remember, we are energetic beings. And I'll leave at this. We are energetic beings. Connor Levy, welcome to the conversation. We feed off of energy. That's not good. That's not bad. It just is. That's a fact. Okay? You were planning to go to the alternative psychotherapist for your lungs? For your lungs, Deborah? Let me know. So we feed off of energy, physically and energetically, emotionally, all that. Okay? So that's just facts of life. Then we say, okay, boom, Amuna. You say to yourself, what gives me joy? Like Tarisha is saying, for this young child, what gives him joy is seeing other people start beefing. So you have to say honestly, what makes you like, this is about to be God? What makes you have that Robin hand moment? You know what I'm saying? What makes you be like, yup? Is it mischief? Is it righteousness? What brings you your back as well as breathing exercise? Okay. Yeah, definitely. Check that out. Lakeisha, welcome to the conversation. Right? You say to yourself, this is how you look at yourself and analyze what brings me joy, causing contention. Sometimes I bring up things that are controversial, even though I know it's going to cause contention because it's something that needs to be done or something that needs to be said. But I have been conditioned to be prepared for sometimes people coming at you because you said something that broke up the status quo. You got to always come up in here and say some stuff that everybody's thinking, but don't nobody want to admit. Amuna. You understand? But that has been me. I just learned how to direct it. You see what I'm saying? But if everything is good, then that's not me. But if there's a pink elephant in the room, then that's me. But that's me knowing me. So you have to see you knowing you. Who am I? How do I move? You know what I mean? Because that's the beginnings of flushing out the toxicity within us. Because if we ignore that we have toxicity within us, we ain't keeping it real. Okay. And the very things we're accusing other people of, rock the boat. Yeah, I'm gonna rock the boat, Zeppelin. I know me, okay? And I'm the chill person, but I'm also that person that would say the stuff, be like, what is wrong with her? I was thinking that, but I wasn't trying to say it. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is. And it's not an easy person to be because, again, you're gonna get some energy coming at you. And it just is what it is. You know what I mean? But I'm also a person, when I was younger, I used to harass my brothers. I'll keep it real. You know what I mean? I used to be like, you look like you're just chilling and, you look like you need to be harassed. You know what I'm saying? So I was that person too. I've learned to tame her since then. But I say that to say, you have to be able to kind of laugh at yourself. You understand what I'm saying? And not take yourself so seriously and act as though everything is beyond you and this never happens to you and you never have done those things, because it doesn't sound, we have some of us that are petty. We like being petty. Sister, shower, go ahead. Look, go ahead, shower a little. I gotta check on these young ones, y'all. But Okay, so the link is in the box. Did I read all of the things to you? Yes, how to identify an energy jacker, learn 4 ways people steal and jack your energy, learn the 4 ways you steal or jack the energy of others, learn new communication skills for how to deal with the toxic person in your life, and so much more. And so that's the Solonomics class. Like I said, please don't be the ones who do one page and be like, I have been delivered. I'm not saying I'm the be all and end all. There's plenty of information out there. There's plenty of articles. There's plenty of self-help books. But when I find that they do too much of the work, then it doesn't allow for the individual to do their own work. So my stuff is not usually a lot of what I'm putting on you. It's, y'all don't want to see my first book. My first ever published book, it just had one prompt. Where is it? It had one prompt. I ain't lying to y'all. It had one prompt and a whole lot of empty space. And the people were like, well, what's this for? And I'm like, it's for you to do the work. They was like, it's hard. I was like, what's hard about it? Because people don't want to go into the memories, y'all. Them memories, those stuff that's why everybody be looking at it, Yana Van Zant. But the way she does it, that's just how she does it. But it's the way she does it is like shocking the snot out the people. I don't know how well they do after that point. You know what I'm saying? That's some like, but anyway, Teresa says, I'm in the process of moving and I have not asked him for his assistance with packing. Keep him in mind, he has not talked to me in 3 weeks. So he tried to pull my daughter in the conversation. Who, the foster son? The foster son? Let me know if you're talking about the foster son. Okay, Deborah says she's been vegan when she was in Australia, Indonesia, and Fiji. Dang, Deborah, you be jet setting all over the other side of the world. What's going on? But since I have returned to a colder climate in the Netherlands, it has not been that easy to stick to vegan. But I do know what you're talking about. Oh, you performing in Israel? Now, that's another story. Let me not start talking about it because I might get a little emotional. And hey, Shelly Ann Thompson, long time no see. Long time no see. How you doing, Shelly Ann? So Teresa says that the stepson who likes to play each other, in the process of moving and have not asked him for assistance with packing, keep in mind he has not talked to me in 3 weeks. See, I'm just gonna do a little live something for y'all right now. So Shelly Ann, how old is the stepson? How old is he? Or the foster son? We're gonna do a little live. See if I'm gonna know anything of what she talks. Let's see if I know a little bit. I know a little bit about a little bit, a little something about a little something. I break up baby fights all day, y'all. I be like, ha, stop it. You know what I'm saying? I hold baby court like at least 2-3 times a week. So I'm not judging taller, but I know a little thing about, oh, so he's 32. Hey sis, what's going on? 32. Oh, glad to hear you doing well. So he's older and he's still at home, or is he meddling from afar? Is he phone meddling or is he meddling at the crib? Y'all gonna have to bear with me because we're gonna see if Teresa could. Let's see if we can help Teresa in any ways. Is he phone meddling or is he meddling at home base? Noel, welcome to the discussion. Because things like this, one would have to say, what's the root cause of it? Is it personal? Oh, he's back home. So he's back home and he's giving you the silent treatment. Because if she says he has not talked to her in 3 weeks, that's a manipulation move. I speak about that in the course, right? If I'm not mistaken. That's the silent move. That's the manipulation move. If you're not doing what I want, or if your things are not going according to how I desire, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna freeze you out. And if you are the inquisitive one, you would push through that. But if you're kind of more like aloof and not really inquisitive, then you're going to let the person go and they're not really going to get you to feed into them, and they're not going to be able to manipulate in certain ways. So this is a real life situation. So let's see what's going on. He moved back 3 weeks. He's not talking and he's not helping. Right? Yazway, welcome to the discussion. Is there some resentment in this situation? Did he resent having to move home? Is he resentful of you? Is he indifferent about the position his life is in? And does he feel entitled to say, you owe me? Like all of the things, I would say this, all of these things were questions I would personally ask to kind of explore. He's mad because I sold the house. See, she said yes, yes, and yes. Boy, I tell y'all, once y'all do this study, boy, liberate your life. It liberates your life. Right? Because I used to be the one like, why am I thus? What's happening to me? Why does this happen to me? Right? And then eventually you're gonna be like, okay, this is why it's happening to you, shouty. So she says yes, yes, and yes. He's mad, so he's resentful, and he's indifferent about selling the house. He had to move back at 32. I assumed it was because something else wasn't going right, and this was a last resort. Was moving back something that he felt he needed to do? Like, did he volunteer, or was it something that he did because life happened? Because if that be the case, he's a grown man, 32 years old, and back at the house. That can't be a good feeling. And if this is the way in which he gets what he wants or expresses his displeasure and he's not able to communicate effectively, then this is probably why you're getting what you're getting. And based on what you're saying, that you're not asking him, then you're not the type of pride person. And so you said he tried to pull my daughter in the conversation. See there? He mad because he can't live off of her for free, y'all. You see that? So that is demanding accountability of the person, right? And that person may be like, what? Now, if this is something new, here's the other part of the self-reflection, Teresa, and I'm not saying you, so I'm just going to bring it back general, right? If the person is indifferent because at some point we made them believe that they could live off of us, then they may be resentful and indifferent. Or they may expect us to understand what position they are in and give them a blind, you know what I'm saying? Give them some understanding in the situation. So there are all these reasons, as you said, he's looking for someone else to come in the conversation to kind of kick it off, whether he knows how to kick it off or he doesn't know how to kick it off. He's using now the daughter to start with this discussion. Right? And that's what I see here. He's using, instead of coming directly, he's going to use someone else to kind of take it off of him and then put the other person in. And sometimes when people do that, they tell her a lot of half truths, y'all. I'm not saying it happened in this situation, but sometimes when people go to use someone else as a go-between, they tell them, they spin the story so that when the story comes to you, it comes in a way where you become the culprit. You know what I'm saying? You become the bad guy. So these are all, again, the toxic ways in which we try to extract one another's energy for one reason or the other. Teresa, thank you so much for sharing. Deborah says, you know what, Sister Amuna, when I'm emotionally touched in a bad way, it is hard to look in the mirror and make an honest assessment about myself. It's like that fire is about to consume me. But guess what? A man or woman of adversity is made in, a man of worth is made in the fires of adversity. What's that, Ecclesiasticus? Like, hold on, let me find out what that is. I believe it's Ecclesiasticus. I will double check. Okay, hold on. Let me double check, y'all. Sam Moon is over there making up proverbs. Hold up. So the proverbs are there. They're little treasures. The proverbial sayings is your inheritance. They're little. If you look at proverbial sayings around the world, they're these little treasure chests of wisdom. And if we assess them, then we understand that, yeah, it may burn, but it's something that we have to do. If we don't do it, then we're going to get the results that we don't want, right? I believe it's Ecclesiasticus. Hold on. It's made in the fire of adversity. Hold up. I know I ain't make that quote up. Now it's gonna get me mad. Hold on. I know maybe I misquoted. It says like gold is tried in the fire. Yeah. Hold up. There it goes. Ecclesiasticus 2:5. For gold is tried in the fire, right? Y'all hold up because I clicked. I'm doing the little dramatic pause because the computer took long to come up. Ecclesiasticus 2 and 5. So that's an apocrypha. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. So sometimes it says acceptable men and people are tried in the furnace of adversity because the adversity is going to purify the soul. So you're going to go through something. I would say this: if you allow it. If you get, because some people come out and feel indifferent that they had to go through all that they went through. So there's adversity could make a person go the other way as well. But if you allow it to purify you, it will do that. Teresa says, he wants to feel needed. Yes, that's his problem. He owns his own reflection of his life. That's usually our problem. And then we project it onto others and make it their problem and all about what they're doing and not doing for us, to us, and with us. So if you want to flush out toxic people, I've been talking for a minute and I have not read part 6 of this book in 2 days because it's been a while, 2 days. But if you want to learn more about the course, or if you like the flow of this conversation, feel free to let us know in the comment section. And we could continue conversations of this nature where we kind of get a bit of resolve or a little bit of direction. I'll tell you what happened, what really helped me, and I'll let y'all go. I had some wild stuff happening when I was younger. And I couldn't understand, I'm searching on my spiritual journey, but you just picked the wrong person. You're like, something gotta be up. Is it me? You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, Most High, is it me? Right? So I remember after something wild and crazy happened, I'm gonna write about it in my book, y'all. I remember my mother said to me, and I've never really remember consciously hearing the word before. She's like, the person is a narcissist. And I was like, what? You hear something, you're like, say that again. And that thing opened doors. Okay. That understanding there opened doors. But everybody's not a narcissist. I'm here to tell you that I like this conversation to inform. Thank you, Terrell. Thank you for joining us. I will say that one thing I notice about our people is when we get one little piece of this little something right here, now everybody's that one little piece. And we have to be aware and cognizant of that because everybody is not a narcissist. You have to have certain amounts of checks on the narcissist checklist in the DSM-4 to be classified as a narcissist. You may have narcissistic traits, but to be a narcissist, you have to be on the spectrum, and that we might come because my mom's gave her old DSM-4. So I might come and read it another time. Hold on. Flat out. See, I don't be playing, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It's a dope convo. Thanks for joining us. Flat out. So next time we might dig up into all this right here. This is what the psychologists be using. Okay? The desk reference DSM-4. Okay? And they have this whole checklist that they have to look for to determine whether or not the person is what we're saying they are. Okay, so a lot of the articles that we're seeing and this and that, they're being informed by their textbooks. Okay, and there's so much. If we look at this, all of this indicates to us that it's more than just narcissism. It can be things layered over things. It's more. And people be like, why are you reading that? That's science. That's thing. Yeah, I think it's up to 5 now. So this is an older one. They may have updated it with some stuff. They update it from time to time, but it will do for our study, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, it will do. It will do. And some of the things they have changed, but yeah, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and now y'all got me flipping through this Jeezy. Hold up. Mm-hmm. Look, Deborah says she worked with that. See, these are the things. This is just so interesting. It is so interesting. Anyway, thank you, Teresa, for sharing. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. It's a process. we're gonna make our way through a little by little. If you want more information on the course, just go to the Soul Center. Link is in the box. Like I said, it's a Solonomics is way more involved than this course of flushing out toxic people. So people didn't even finish Solonomics. I'm like, if you say so. I don't know what else to do, y'all. Can y'all help me to help you? Make it make sense for me, y'all. Make it make sense. So with that, thank everybody for tuning in. I'll talk to y'all later. I hope y'all were entertained. I was feeling a bit kooky today. So that if that expressed like, why is she bugging out? That's what it is. Sometimes you just gotta lighten your mood, y'all. You gotta lighten your mood. Everybody share this video, like this video, share it with a friend, a loved one, and get well together. Yeah. One love, much love, peace. All right, new to the tube. We'll talk again. I ain't gonna say I'll be back because I said I'll be back. I'm just gonna surprise y'all. I'm just gonna jump on here and just start reading. All right. All right, everybody. One.